Hey guys, it's Dom from Soundsphere magazine and Gimme a Hull Yeah here. Just had a great chat with Axel Tischer, of course, the former Alexander Wolfe from Sanity, from Imperium, NXT, NXT UK, and the main roster in WWE. Was released in the recent cuts by WWE, and we have him here talking about music, talking about wrestling, everything else in between. I'm super, super glad that we got to do this one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Peace. Is there anything? Is there anything you're going to miss about because you're moving back to Germany with your family,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which must be awesome. Is there anything you're going to miss about being in the US? The weather, or
As you maybe know, I'm still in Florida.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Florida's always good, but like summertime in Florida is brutal
yeah,
because the climate is so hot. So yesterday, I went out and my son, he's 2 years old. I always try to keep him busy, going on the playgrounds and everything. He hated it so much. He was always like, no, I want to stay in the car because the AC and want to stay in the house before the AC. And then I have to kind of force him go out, or I have to kind of like,
yeah.
just catch him with, hey, look at there, there's a big slide or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's me. It's must be cool to be able to have the freedom you've got now. But will you miss the weather? Is there anything in the US you will miss, or are you just super excited to come home?
I'm super excited to come home,
Yeah,
but I also will miss a lot of things. Here in Florida, especially, all the buildings are pretty low. So you
yeah,
always have a big, like, panorama picture of the sky, especially when from, I don't know, when it's dusk and when it's dawn, it's always like just a beautiful picture, piece of art. That's always great. And I like the seeing palm trees and everything. So I definitely will miss that. And also, everything is bigger in the States than, for example, in Europe. So the streets are more like wider open, that you can drive the big pickup trucks here and everything. So you do not have that in Europe. And speaking from Germany, you have everything a little bit, buildings are higher and everything is more like narrow and packed together. And here it's like you can live in a house, or even the apartments are way bigger. So
yeah, man.
that's what I will miss for sure. But I'm so excited for me coming back home, coming back to my hometown, coming back to my home country, also coming back to the culture, which is from an American point a little bit more stiff, because
Yeah,
German people are used to be more like, just act, be on
yeah.
time, and have your order and everything. Don't be too sloppy with stuff. But I think it's from the mental state of mind. It's definitely something good, because also back with family, and my son grew up with grandparents, being around my best friends, because yeah, I still have good friends here, but it's the difference between having friends here where you spend most of the time at work, versus best friends where you spend most of your private time with.
Yeah.
So, and it's a different environment. So yeah, I will miss the States, but I'm super happy to come back to my hometown.
Absolutely, man. I'm really happy for you as well. I think that's one of the things I did want to ask you too is, people, they look at your career and what you've been able to do over the last sort of six
Mhm.
years plus and your career before that. And they think, oh man, you've been in WWE, you've done all this other stuff. But there is a whole world outside of that. There is a
Yeah.
whole world. And some people think, oh, why would you want to go back to Germany? Why would you want to, do that when you could be in WWE? But what
Mhm.
you're doing is you going back for family. You're going back to spend time
Yeah.
with people that you love. And sometimes it's good for people to realize, especially people who look up to you and look up to other performers, that
Mhm.
actually the money isn't everything.
No, not at all. The money is sweet, and I said in a couple of interviews before that that's one of the sad things, that I will not make that much money with doing nothing. But like you said, money is not everything, and you cannot buy happiness. It's less stressful probably, and sometimes you're happier without being worried about paying bills and everything, because you have it in your account, or to afford something. But me, for example, I'm not a material guy, so I still wear like shirts I had years ago, and
Yeah.
I'm I get nightmares thinking about shopping stuff like this. So
Yeah.
um, So my wife and I, we have always like this thing where we think we need something, probably order it over Amazon, we put it into shopping cart on Mondays, and then on Saturdays we decide, do we really need this? So
Nice.
we live a little bit more minimalistic, that being said. And I mean, the majority of my clothes is just merchandise which somebody sent me because I'm friends with somebody, or I don't know. So, I'm not that posh guy. So that makes it easier for my wallet as well. But the happiness in life is when you do something what makes you happy, not the amount of you getting paid. And even the time in WWE was sweet and the salary is amazing. For me right now, the thing is I'm not too much bummed out, or I'm not bummed out from having not my contract renewed. For me is right now, okay, it sucked in the first place because nobody wants to get fired or let go. But for me, the thing is right now, sometimes somebody has to force you to do a certain way, which is probably better for you, and everything happens for a reason. And I know that I will do fine outside of WWE, but just imagine the entire palette of opportunities in front of me, and I can use it. I can travel again sooner or later when everything opens up again. I can do my own stuff. I be my own boss. I be my own boss in my schedule. I can create something from the fundament which I had before, and also from the stuff which I built up on top from the 6 years of WWE. So now it's time to create my own future.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm very excited as well. One of the things that I know about you is obviously you're a huge fan of hardcore music, huge fan of metal. It's interesting because the band thing it can be relatable. You've gone from this, big, huge company, and what you're going to be doing on the indies is talking directly to fans, like a merch table. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Fans are going to be able to come directly to you and speak to you. You can sell your merch. You can talk to fans. And what does that mean to you to be the kind of the DIY band again, the DIY hardcore band, touring, getting out there with fans rather than having that gatekeeper, the WWE.
Yeah. It's like getting from the tour bus back to the vans where you have to travel 8 hours sitting, whatever, like on the 3-section seat with 4 people. You mentioned like the merch tables, for example. That's a perfect example how exciting it could be. So it's always necessary, and it's also very important to connect with the audience, and especially with your own fans. And in that time at WWE, I had some signings and I had some photo ops and everything, but it's such a it's like in a big factory, right? It's like you do not have really time like to get in a conversation, whatever. And even in that time, I had the chance to work a couple times for WXW because they are associated with WWE, and I had the chance actually to be back on the indie scene with WXW under a WWE contract. But I could get used to that feeling, being on the merch table, try to have a chat with everybody. Everybody comes through, wants a picture, wants to have an autograph, maybe wants to buy a shirt or whatever. But it's not that. It's sweet, of course, but it's not that. It's more like the come by and say hello, and you want to get something off your chest because you want to tell me how good or bad I am. Something, we can have an interaction. We can be humans and just talk to each other. And I'm really looking forward to have that again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think that's, one of the things that's come across. Obviously, you mentioned, most of your clothes, T-shirts that you've been given by people, and that's really cool. It doesn't strike me as you're the kind of guy that's gonna, not want to get sweaty with the fans, not want to go get in the mosh pits at gigs and things like that. You want to be out there with the people. You want to be
of course. And if there's a mosh pit, I'd definitely be in there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's cool, man. I wanted to ask you, about your brand and what you want to achieve. Post WWE, you've got the ring camp clothing line stuff as well. What do you, in an ideal world, where do you see your brand? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to be doing merchandise? Do you want to be doing, where's your vision for your brand post WWE?
So you mentioned the ring camp stuff, but we closed the chapter of ring camp because at that time all three athletes was signed by WWE, and WWE in that part wasn't keen on third-party stuff. But it was okay because we could not have the chance to promote that on a daily basis, like on shows, or like have this connection with the fans at the merch table, because we all three are signed by WWE. Now we close, so we probably will not open it up again. Which would have been a good thing, but in the end, like, you know, sometimes it's good to let something rest. Excuse me. To you know, just end it on good terms, or just end it on a successful term. That being said, so but now for me is the thing, I'm thinking, what should I do? Because of course people know me from the Sanity time, and people know me from the Imperium time, from the Ringkampf time in WWE, but I do not really want to be an older or washed up version of that. I do not want to show up as Alexander Wolfe Sanity, just with the different name. I do not want to continue doing the Ringkampf stick from the same standpoint as NXT, for example, uses Ringkampf or Imperium right now. So for me, it's the thing, I will try to find a good mix of both of it, because this is how people know me, but also because both of it was something personal for me, where I just personalized it for myself. I also want to show a little bit more of myself. So instead of maybe the tracksuit, I will wear a nice, I don't know, a nice hoodie with merchandise hoodie, which looks like kind of about to stage dive, because I see a lot of hardcore concert where a lot of like the mosh kids just turn up in a hoodie and just, you know, get the hood up and start the winding dancing. So I want to kind of create something which is not too much details, because you lose yourself sometimes in too much details, but which has kind of like a combination plus the now me. And also like with projects, of course, merchandise. You can find something on Pro Wrestling Tees, also on SL wrestling.com.
I'll put it, I'll mention it's all there.
So I already put some merchandise up. There's something new, something older. And then also something more to come, like a big cartel shop where I get like limited merch out. So a design which I have in my head, which you just can order for a certain amount of weeks, and then it's gone again. So, but of course, merch is important, because it's also like getting the word out, or getting like the designs out, and of course you make extra buck with it. But I think like as a utilizer for the brand I make in 6 years of WWE, I'm probably thinking about maybe do with a good friend of mine who's more in the music business, doing something like a podcast, just getting some other people's in the mix, and doing a podcast for right now just in German, because I'm probably the only guy who speaks like more fluently English. But who knows, you know, sky's the limit with that. But just try to stay active, and even like inside the wrestling world and also outside the wrestling world.
Absolutely. Well, if you need any contacts metal wise, man, like,
yeah, awesome. Thank you.
We do, like, we've done so many interviews with like stuff over the years, and obviously we do all kinds of stuff. So like, if you ever want some contacts, it's all about, you know, PR and stuff. So like agents, and if you obviously you have a platform, and they're just looking for a platform, they're looking for somebody who's created something cool, and you would fit that bill, man. Like
that's cool.
You know, if you want to drop us a message, whatever you start, I can pass you on to some people, awesome. And then you can, you know, because there's like a roster. Usually there's like a roster of people that somebody handles. And they're like 5, 10, 15 bands and whatever. So like it's definitely something that's a really cool idea, because the wrestling and the music and metal, as you know, there's it's very intertwining, isn't it? You know, it's
wrestling and music.
Yeah, like absolutely. Particularly the metal.
Always. Scene. No, it's always I always call it in English vitamin C for connection, because you need vitamin C. You know somebody who knows somebody, and then.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I like I say, I think one of the things that I also wanted to speak about was you talked a lot in interviews about your 6 years of learning and how you want to apply that to the scene back in Germany. You know, you want to do seminars and stuff like that, which I think is amazing. and I guess, what have you learned about yourself? Obviously, that you can apply when you do these seminars, whatever. What have you learned about yourself from the beginning of your career? You know, before you got to WWE.
Mhm.
to where you are now? How have you changed and developed, and what have you learned?
I think it changed also with me getting older and just becoming a real man in life, if I can
Yeah.
say it, becoming a father, becoming a husband and everything. And that also changed, even like with now just going from being independent, traveling here and there, traveling there, and not really worried about the future, getting into the system of professional wrestling at its highest, being in the development process of becoming a WWE superstar, where you had a lot of responsibilities on your own brand. And that's always a factor where you always start thinking about it when somebody tells you or teach you like the rules of that. Let's call it the rules of that, because of course nothing is written in stone, and wrestling is an art form where probably not everything is right or wrong. Of course, there's technique wise, when you do like a technique in the ring, it could be wrong, but the way you portray the match, the way you paint your canvas, there's not really a right or wrong. So, but what you have to know is you have to be responsible for certain kind of things, the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate with others, the way you present yourself, the way your attitude is and everything. And a big part on me try to teach, let's say the younger generation or the next generation, is make them aware of that everything, especially nowadays, what you say and what you do matters. You get buried, you get canceled, you get I don't know, like you say something wrong where you think, okay, it's okay, but nowadays a lot of that stuff is not okay anymore, even if you say it by accident or if you say it on purpose. So, and you can say and do what you do, but you have to live with the response of that. You have to live with the backlash of that. So, and in the best, a lot of people are so outspoken on Twitter and you name it, and it's a thing. They are wondering why they get like negative backlash out of that. So the easy way is just shut the fuck up and speak about what you do, and that is wrestling and nothing else. When you go too deep, for example, politics, just go where politics, is discussed, and not on Twitter where other people hate you then later for that because you're just a wrestler. So responsibility, and of course the way you carry yourself. When you show up at the show, you're not ready to go, you a little bit hangover from the party before because you have not the discipline to say no to a drink or whatever, or when you drink heavy, then you have to work heavy, stuff like this. And what I feel is the difference right now, that a lot of people, the younger age, they expect everything is for granted, and they are not willing to work hard on that. And that is a thing what quite frankly pissed me off, because when I remember, I sacrificed almost everything from my life to become a pro wrestler, just to do everything. I sacrifice time, money, relationships. If doesn't matter if it's a friend, if it's a girlfriend, if it's just a hookup, I don't know. So it's that you have sacrificed a lot to do that, and you have to work a lot. So, and even if you sacrifice a lot, it does not mean that it will work out eventually. So you have to still try. And today, nowadays, everybody is too soft for a lot of things. They are not willing to whatever, like to sit in a car for 8 hours and just drive there and do a match for less than 10 minutes and probably get not paid for it. Yeah, that's the beginning. That's called pay your dues. And you cannot expect, because you're, I don't know, a king shit, and you get paid a certain amount of money and whatever. So a lot of times it is what it is, but everybody has to make the first steps, and the beginning always sucks. But that's the part, you try to find a place where you are good with it, and if you don't like it, if it hurts too much, if it's too much waste of a time, get the fuck out. If you really want to do it, just get your shit together, bite your tongue, whatever you want to say, how you want to call it, but just you have to be tough, not only physically, also mentally. And nowadays it's the thing also, and I'm not saying people do it on purpose. A lot of people they do it because they do it, but somebody has to tell them, hey, knock it off, just, suck it up, and next time will be better, and then next time is better, and next time after the next time is maybe the worst, but still do it, because it's like when you watch a television series, this episode is the best, the second is not so good, the third is the shit. You go nuts, you want to buy the DVDs, and the next season is completely disaster, but just wait till the third season, maybe it's now again the shit. So it's you have to go through that, and a lot of people are not conditioned to go through hard times anymore. That's what I believe.
It's the same for bands as well, actually. That's a lot of well, a lot of the musicians we speak to, they say the same thing. You get in the van, you play a show, you might play to nobody, and if you look at like bands like, Code Orange and stuff, who started in the hardcore scene, for example, now they're in the Grammys, but they've done that Time Turnstile, another one, and like you look at those bands and other so many thousands of other bands that do these tiny shows for no money, and then they do well, but they know how to go back to the van. And I guess that's the parallel with what you're saying is you can go back to the van. You can go back to the DIY crowds because you've worked for it.
I believe also, so I had this when I was on SmackDown, and then I went to NXT UK. A lot of people said, oh, you get depromoted. But for me, it wasn't a depromotion. The same as right now is for me, of course, I'm not under WWE contract anymore. So I'm not in that or under that WWE umbrella. But the bubble, correct. But now is for me, I go back, I do that step back to go two forward. That's always my mentality. As long as I'm moving, that's the part. When I'm still standing, and a lot of times I had this feeling in WWE, that frustrates me so much. I have to moving. Even, again, one step back, two forward. So now I have the chance to go back to my roots. I now have the chance to invent myself again to a newer, better me, because now I have 6 years of WWE experience with live crowds, with live television, with tape television, with everything around that. House shows on a small part, house shows where you have, 5,000 people in the audience. So that's a lot of experience. And this is all the tools I need right now to reinvent myself and go back to my roots, find the crown, find the foundation of what I have built up, and build something new, or maybe just build something aside, but just get a bigger picture of me out. And the best way you do it is really when you, as you say, like the DIY crowds, because it's the most authentic place you can be, because you get real reactions. You do not get reactions by guys says, okay, now everybody clap or everybody boos, whatever. They give you the real feeling of what you do. If you're a bad guy and they boo for you, you probably do a good job. If you're a good guy, they cheer for you, you probably do a good job as well. But if nobody reacts on something what you do, you have to figure out, okay, nobody reacts, not good. What can I do right now to get this? And this is something what makes you stronger. So I did this a couple times with those independent matches for WXW, and I felt great with it. And with that memory right now, so I'm so excited to start again.
I'm excited for you as well. I think it's going to be awesome. I do want to ask though, because people love Sanity. People were really into that as a faction. People love Imperium now. And what you're able to do. And obviously, we are talking about the future here. We are talking about what you're going to do. But is there anything you would have done? Obviously, you can talk about WWE creative and all that stuff. What would you have done? Let's take Sanity first, because Imperium's still there, it's still going. Let's take Sanity. How would if you had creative control over that group? Great talents. You had Nikki, you had Eric, Killian, of course. Those talents. Who you've been able to work with. What would you have done with Sanity? How would you have made that work?
In general, or just for SmackDown?
In general, what would if you had control over that group?
So in general, basically what we did the majority of the time at NXT. So with Sanity, we were not typical wrestling team. So I believe we do not really need to do wrestling on a weekly basis, that we had all like the matches and everything, but something what leads up to a banger. So I believe Sanity would be off in being a lot of like, we could have been very creative, like backstage wise and everything. Especially, we have seen all over the years, especially in WWE, all kinds of matches, the boiler room match and all kinds of that. So we could like take the bits and pieces in that, put it in the mixer, blend it through, and then we would have something like, for example, this 1 week, we would have kind of a vignette. Second week, we would get together and just, organically just get into the mix with just being backstage and start messing shit up, because we've been like the guys who would like start a riot and everything. Then maybe get in the mix with some other talents where we in the end feuding with, and then having this back and forth. And even not the talents, even let's say for whatever brand, the authority figure in form from a general manager or whoever would kind of like tell us F off, because you guys are no good and you're messing stuff up, and all the other employees are kind of like a little bit anxious about you guys being around, and we get like banned from the building. But the way we are, we would not go right away until we smash a window or whatever. Then next week we come back and we do it again, because now we have an authority figure, which like, people who've been a little bit loose cannons and being a little bit, let's say a little bit riot-ish, rooted people, like you want to mess up, anarchists, so to speak, just, want to mess with your authority figure, because who the F are you? So now this guy has some securities, and you can build it up till eventually we have a whole riot in the parking lot or something, and which includes maybe some workers, some wrestlers. The authority figure wants to punish us. We have to face this guy right now, but so we could build up something like this. Also, we had an idea for like an internet stuff that we ask on Twitter, who do you guys want to get seen messed up or fucked up by Sanity? So now everybody hashtag this wrestler, and then it leads into, okay, so now the people put the target on your back. So it's not our fault that we mess you up, something like this. But again, like, of course, it ends with wrestling, because with wrestling entertainment, and it ends with something in the ring. But with all those creative stuff, what they have done in the past, we could have used that and to elevate the whole characters of who we are and what we do. And then in the end, it's like in the series, right? You have the first season, that the second season is a little bit more turn up to 11 maybe, and then after the third season you need like new content. So now you get deeper into the characters. Why is Nikki Cross the loose cannon? Why is she in the end pulls the trigger? Because she's bored of messing around too much, something like this. Or why is Kieran Dane the big guy, and why is he always so silent? Because in the past, from Northern Ireland, etc., or why am I the fire starter? Why I always have to start fighting because I'm kind of want to see the world burn and stuff like this. Or why is EY the leader? Why is he able to control the uncontrollable? Why are we finding together? Stuff like this. So there's a lot of creative stuff we could have used, which I think we should have used, but in the end it didn't turn out. But as you can see, we had a lot of ideas, and that's just a bit of it. But sky's the limit. In the end, you saw it a little bit with Retribution. They used like a lot of stuff what we would love to do, but in the end, they dropped the ball with that as well, and it wasn't even good. So
absolutely, the only vision I could like, EY has Violent by Design and Impact now, and I feel like that's closer to what you were trying to do.
It is exactly what Sanity could become on SmackDown, because EY was a big vocal point on a lot of stuff what he's right now mentioned with like the sickness and the truth and everything. And this is basically his version of it right now. And it's so cool to see that EY has the creative liberty to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, that's interesting, because obviously you are going to be in Germany and you are open to traveling. I heard in interviews. With your son being born in the US, does that make it a little easier for you to come back and forth, or is it still difficult with the visa stuff? Like,
no,
can you go up on Impact, for example, and then go back?
So right now, a big thing is because my working relationship with WWE ends, also my working visa will end, because when you have a working visa, it's always associated with the company which employs you.
Yeah.
So even like right now, I'm leaving end of June. I could leave mid of July, but I do not want to wait till I'm back home. So if another company wants to pick me up, and it like everything like we find an agreement, yeah, I would move back here, would travel from Germany to States, depends, because a lot of promotions, they do tapings, so no live shows besides the pay-per-views. But yeah, of course, why not? I'm not afraid to travel. I love to travel, even if, for example, Germany and America is like a 9 to 12 hour flight.
Yeah.
Could be worse, sitting in a plane, getting served some free drinks, and have the chance to watch a ton of movies. So why not?
Absolutely. I just wanted to know what the possibility of, because obviously you got Rhino in there now as well, who's invited by design. I just, there's a lot of unfinished, and I'm really pleased that Nikki's doing well and Killian doing well as well. And but like that, it just feels like you and EY and the whole group could do something really cool. But that's just my opinion, just
I think you should not repeat anything what already has been done and everything, because in the end it works like a cheap copy or anything.
like an imitation.
Of course. So a lot of people ask me that if I would willing like join Violent by Design, because they obviously liked my character in Sanity, and I see it as a compliment. But for me right now, it's like I would not say no right now, and I would not say yes right now. It's more than just a yes or no. It's also a thing if Impact wants it, if I want it, if somebody else wants me. And right now I'm still under WWE contracts now, like 4 days till it's up, and then see where it goes, So, but for me right now, even if right now I could not do anything, because I have to leave the country first, and then if there's agreement with the company, with an Northern American based company, there has to be an agreement also with a new working relationship. Then you have to do the immigration process with getting a new visa. I have to go to the embassy in Germany. I do not know if that opened already. So. And I know a lot of people got signed by companies and stuck in Europe right now because they cannot travel, or they do not get their new visa.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, fingers crossed, that some stuff opens up soon. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to the US. I have a journalist visa, which means I can travel back and forth, but for a very specific reason. Like I have to go for work.
Yeah, that's good.
But obviously at the moment, it's it's all good. But there are ways.
I think you sometimes you can travel under special saying. For I could come back to the States, for example, because my son is born here. So I had to come back because over the pandemic I was in Germany with my wife and my son, because we did holidays there for New Year's and for Christmas, and then we could not travel back because they closed the border. But then later we figured out, we could go back because the parents or guardians of an American citizen. So that's a different type of story. And some people have, because they are as essential workers, so they can travel as well. So who knows? Maybe you can.
A lot of opportunities there for you, man. Fingers crossed in the future. I wanted to ask a couple more questions before we finish.
Go ahead.
I think Imperium was a great faction, and it enabled you to do NXT UK as well as NXT. Is there any unfinished business, obviously, in terms of, you're going on to new stuff, more exciting stuff for yourself, but is there anything you wish you could have done with Imperium, or any ways to improve that group? Because it was very popular.
To improve the group, I don't think so, because all three guys, Walter, Fabian, and Marcel, are top-notch athletes and superstars. I don't think to improve the group is not necessary, because we all just been four unique athletes who believed in the same in the same things, which means protect the wrestling business, just keep it clean from all the clowns who's not taking it serious, etc., etc. Unfinished business, for sure, because I was keen on, when I will split off from Imperium, which was a plan even before I joined Imperium creatively, that I had a chance to work with those guys, to feud with those guys, to have some banger matches, and just have some crazy fights where just beat the shit out of each other and everything. So that is something what I not had the chance to have again, because I wrestled Marcel and Walter before I signed with WWE, and always was fun, because they're super professional. Never had the chance really to face Fabian in a match, just training wise, here and there, a little bit wrestling around. But that's something what is definitely open for business. So who knows? Maybe in the future again. or maybe never, but depends. But I would not change anything on Imperium. Like, I hope really that all three guys will peak, or if they not have peaked right now, because Walter is pretty much amazing in being the most dominant champion in NXT or WWE history right now.
Yeah.
So, and for Fabian Marcel, they definitely needed again a chance like to become tag team champions again. So, so hopefully their success will go through the roof.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, like you say, great faction, and obviously good times for you. Switching gears a little bit to music now. In terms of like gigs and stuff, were there any great shows while you were with WWE? You did download, I know, the festival a couple of years back. Was there any great kind of ways you were able to see live music while you were with WWE? Any good memories music wise?
Yeah, of course. So probably the music genre I'm into with hardcore is not so much popular. So always, it's not really connectable to WWE. I know with NXT was a different story because you had some great bands there playing live and everything. I wished I could have Stick to Your Guns and Stray from the Path, two of my favorite bands playing there, but they did not come to terms. Probably too many F-bombs in the lyrics, I guess. But no, Download Festival is like always a good thing for me, because the NXT tent was right next to the Avalanche tent, which was always like the hardcore metalcore tent. So it was just popping over and see who's playing right now, or we get like a plan who's playing. And I remember a cool story was, so Every Time I Die I played on the day we had like some brackets to entertain people on Download with professional wrestling. And Andy, he's now an AEW talent. Before that, he was kind of like semi-professional wrestler, but full-time musician. And he always popped in like for wrestling shows. A lot of guys from the British wrestling scene, they knew him. And I never met him, but I just heard about him. Met him first time, just, briefly small talk, hello, and blah, blah, blah. But I was familiar with Every Time I Die. I never saw them live, just, on tape. So then we had, I think the third wrestling blog was about to start, and I had the opener there. And I was so tired on that day. I was really burned out a little bit, because you've been like 4 days there or 3 days in a row, and festival life is a hard life for sure. So in that time, I was kind of like, let's have a black coffee and see who's playing. And Every Time I Die was playing. So hell yeah. But I also knew like when they are finished with the concert, like I think 10 minutes later, the show will start. So I put my wrestling gear on, my Sanity wrestling gear, left the boots off, put some sneakers on, and just basically went in with my wrestling gear and just went into the pit, moshed, and then went over to the tent, put my boots on, and went out and wrestled the match. So that was a good experience. But the good part is, since then, Andy and I, we just came a little bit closer, because he was just playing and recognized who's that guy. And then he realized it's me. And also, like, a lot of people understood the character I did with Sanity a little bit more, because now they understood, okay, he's not possessed, or he's like whatever, like I almost said a bad word. He's like out of his mind. So now he does violent dancing, because this is what you do when you go into the mosh pit, especially when you go to hardcore concerts. You do spin kicks, you do like the fist, whatever, crazy monkeys, chainsaw dance, you call it. But in that case, it was a funny experience, and even I was adrenalized as shit after that. So even the match afterwards was super fun, and it was cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That was the other thing I was going to ask as well, with the scene and with the hardcore scene. Given that you were able to incorporate some of that character into your Sanity days, and there'll be a lot of metal fans that love wrestling, and some fans that all have maybe encountered the hardcore music, or be interested because you're interested in it, and maybe they want to dip their toe into the hardcore scene a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to ask you what made you fall in love with hardcore music for the first time, because some people are quite scared. They're scared when they see the spin kicks. They're scared when they see the chainsaw dance, right? So as someone that loves hardcore music, that's in the spotlight, who's been a professional wrestler, what made you fall in love with hardcore?
I remember the first time I got in touch with hardcore, that was on a Slipknot concert. It was 2003. I was a very big Slipknot fan, because I love the entertainment part of Slipknot, also the music. But that was kind of like the float over from metal-ish, like cool around mask and everything. So, and then there was in my hometown a Slipknot concert, and Dresden in Germany is not such a big town as Berlin, for example. So it's very rare when such an act like Slipknot would come through and just play. And the pre-band was Hatebreed.
Yeah.
And they toured, and it seems like that a lot of guys in like East Germany is very big on hardcore stuff and violent dancing. So when you go in there, you probably go out with a bloody nose for sure, because it's violent for sure. Yeah. So, and we just been there for Slipknot, been like little fanboys for Slipknot. And then a friend of mine told me for the concert, hey, the band they play before Slipknot, you have to see this. This is amazing. It's really good shit. I was like, yeah, let's see. I hear it the first time, and I hear like, especially the difference is when you hear something on tape and when you hear it live. A lot of times I fell in love with bands when I hear them live. On tape, not so much. But afterwards, because I hear them live, I'll often hear it on tape as well. And yeah, with Hatebreed, hear that, my eyes kind of like, wow, what's that? You know, the bass drums, the beat downs, and fucking hell. And then you see the guys starting like a mosh pit. And it was not usually, I was used to like the pogo stuff where you can bounce back and forth, you know. And then you see those guys swinging and just, you know, just punching the air and just screaming and going nuts and jump all over each other and whatever. And I was like, whoa, I want to do this as well. I went in there, caught one or twice in the mouth and everything. But it was fun to be there because your adrenaline goes up. It's a huge cardio drill. If you see it from a sports perspective.
Man.
But like the music and the combination of this, let's call it art of dancing, because it's not meant to hit somebody. It's not meant to knock somebody out. Of course, it happens 100 times. But also what a lot of people don't see when they do a circle pit or whatever, one guy falls down and the other guy make a circle, just pick him right back up. And a lot of bands stop playing. They pick him up. Right in the lyrics, stop, pick him up first, and then they continue. So it's an environment from cool people. August Burns Red, they always say angry music for happy people. And yeah, a lot of people, they get their frustration out, they get their whatever. This day sucked so much, so I have to go to the pit and just leave all the aggression out, but without intentionally hurting somebody.
Yeah,
you know, you pick each other up, you have fun with it, you know what I mean? A lot of times I got one on the nose or whatever, just right in the elbow.
Yeah,
you cannot be mad about it, because you know, when you be in there, you know what you're dealing with. And then in the end, you give a high five, a fist bump. The other guy, 9 out of 10, he asks, hey, you okay? You know, it's the same when you do a stage dive. People catch you actually if you aim right. So, but also a lot of times, and that's the funny part on Hatebreed concerts, on every Hatebreed concert, I always see a bigger fat guy who comes in and he gets creamed and he's sick of it. He gets mad. He wants to start a real fight, always gets taken down and then taken out by the security. That's and running joke by hardcore concerts. No, but Hatebreed was the first, and then I think the second being Parkway Drive. And then sooner or later it came through a friend of Stick to Your Guns. And then from Stick to Your Guns, I went to a concert in Jacksonville, Florida, and they toured with Stray from the Path, and then with Knocked Loose, and. So
man.
A lot of cool bands out there.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's like, it was the community that got me, like because I have cerebral palsy, so I like walk with 2 sticks and stuff. But like I play in a band, and people were just so welcoming. You know, they want you to be a part of it, and like it was a beautiful scene. Like I discovered all these bands, and just the community feel of it, which I think is a beautiful thing. And I think that's, people are scared of that community. People have a perception of it, but actually, if you're involved in it, and people will welcome you in. You know, even if you feel like you're an outsider. And I love that. You know. Yeah,
everybody's welcome besides dickheads.
Yeah.
And that's all the thing. Like, people fear what they don't know, and if you do not know what they're doing, if you don't have a feeling for that, that's okay. You fear what you don't understand. If you're open-minded, you want to understand, probably afterwards you still think it's stupid, but that's okay. You know, but that's the beauty of life. If everybody likes the same color, likes the same look, likes the same music, life would be boring. So, and like, the hardcore scene is not as big as, for example, I don't know, like the heavy metal scene, or like even like the Motorhead, Metallica, hard rock scene, you know. But for me, it's more boring because I rather, you know, get punched in the face by accident than just stand there and do,
Yeah.
you know, the devil horns. So yeah, it's a different kind of taste, which makes it exciting to be alive today. And if you find something you like and you stick behind it, or you stick with it, that's awesome.
Absolutely, man. Do you have any tickets booked for when you go back to Germany? And
no, not right now, but I know some shows are coming up, and one show, Terror, will play.
Yeah.
And this is also always a good place to go, Terror. And I think they tour with Lionheart, which is also a good act. And then I know Stray will tour as well with Motionless in White.
I know Motionless in White. Yeah. It's cool actually, because you mentioned Hatebreed. That was one of the first bigger metal interviews I did, and then later on Motionless in White as well. But yeah, Jamie was lovely, man. You have a perception. You have a perception of all these people, right? And then when you chat to them, you know, again, imagery is everything. You create a character, and you do the same thing with Sanity. People had a perception of you, but it actually, you know, there's so much love and care that goes into these bands and these artists, creatives, and I always love that. But yeah, man, I got into I know Terror, but I got into hardcore through and grindcore through Napalm Death as well. I got to speak to Napalm Death and and stuff. So yeah, man. Like
Terror is one of the bands. They are amazing. Like the last time I saw Terror was where they played in West Palm Beach together with Stick to Your Guns.
Oh, nice.
And through WWE documentary series Breaking Ground, I got in touch with George Schmitz. He's the drummer of Stick to Your Guns, and we are good friends. So and always when he was in Florida, he was, hey, you want to come around? And, yeah, of course. So we have a chat and everything. They play, I mosh, blah blah blah, and they're always fun. So and then that day I was on stage behind the scenes, because I had just some slippers with me, and I always like to have a little bit tighter shoes with me when I go to the marsh. Otherwise, you barefoot and probably your toes break 100 times. But in the end, I had the chance to step back and just really get into like, okay, see the crowd, which made me jealous because I want to join the crowd, but also have the chance to hear the bands, not quite with the good sound, because, you know, you be behind the speakers, so you have to be in front of the speakers, but you see them perform. And Terror was awesome. And he told me a good story about the drummer from Terror. He's a marathon runner. And he, on one tour, they had probably 30 days in a row. They had one day off. On that one day, this guy flew from the town where they've been in to Boston. He has run the marathon, and came back and continued the tour. So that's just amazing story when you believe like this guy goes super nuts on the drums, and he's such a fit dude, you know. And like the whole band, and like it's insane how much energy they create, because as a performer, you always play off on each other. The crowd gives you crazy energy, you give them even more, and they give you more. And even when they do not have energy, but you give them energy, they will give you something. But everybody was so hot on that, and it was on West Palm, Florida. So you be in a smaller building on probably a summer day, so it's hot as hell. The climate is unbelievable. You're in this small room packed with people where AC is running wild, and then you have Terror playing, and everybody's sweating so much. So, and they still perform, they still go nuts. And even when the front singer just had to take a sip from the deal, just handed the mic into the audience, and they continue just to go nuts. Just a picture of it, and I just have that in my mind. Can't wait to see them live again, but this time I'm in the marsh.
That's awesome, man. I hope you enjoyed that. I think that's really cool. You know, just before we finish, you know, again, people have this, you know, you've been in WWE, you've done all that stuff, but like that's a memory you'll cherish forever. You've been on TV, you've done all that, but that's, I think, one of the cool things is that, you know, same thing as we talked about in the beginning. Success is great, but it's the memories that you create alongside it. You know, you're going to remember, you know, gigs like that, maybe even more than you remember being on SmackDown. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, people's definitions of success.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think also a big part of that, it keeps me grounded. Because in the end, like a lot of people, you have done this and that. Yeah, fine. But, you know, I still cook with water. I still not whatever, like something what maybe other people would say. I'm still a human. I'm still one of everybody, you know, and we all bleed the same blood, and it doesn't matter which religion or ethnicity we came from or which skin color we have, and that's also a good part. What also connects with the music, you know, so everybody's welcome, and also with the wrestling world, everybody's welcome. We all, it doesn't matter from which international like part we from, like from which country and everything. We all glue together because we have passion not only for life but also for that what we love in life.
Yeah, man. So. Absolutely, dude. And yeah, just to finish off, you know, what is the message for your fans, people that have supported you from WXW, from before that, you know, through WWE, and the people that have stuck with you? What is your message to those people?
My message is, when you have the chance to come to wrestling shows where I am, please come, pass by the merch table and say hello, or at least come to the show. We'd love to see everybody there. Even if we have met before, a lot of times my head is a little bit, you know, loose, so I just at least tell me we have met before something. No, but in general, it's like keep it easy, stay positive, just live your own life, and don't let you guys dictate what you love, what you do, what you feel. And the best way, just switch off the telly and just have a look into a real world, because everything what goes through the media nowadays is absolutely shit and makes your life miserable. So when you want to be happy, switch off the television, switch off the phone, enjoy your real life, and come to wrestling shows.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, yeah. And last bit is the promo bit. Links, anything you want to plug, anything you want to promote?
Yes, I said it before, like I have some merch shops up. The one is Pro Wrestling Tees, the other is slwrestling.com. It's a shop in Germany, it's kind of Pro Wrestling Tees. So you find me there under Axel the X-Men Tischer. Also, you find links in my social media profiles. On Twitter is Axman3016, and on Instagram it's still the WWE Wolfe. So you can send me a message there. I have also linked an email address for booking inquiries. If you're a promoter, you want to book me for a show, or you want to book me for a wrestling seminar for your school, or for something else, depends what it is. You get in contact with me and we can discuss more details. Otherwise, yeah, again, stay positive and believe in yourself, and don't hesitate to work hard for your goals, because I will work hard now for my goals.
Absolutely, man. Now, I'm so excited for you. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I really appreciate it. Obviously, you know, best of luck for the future. I think it's going to be amazing. I look forward to seeing you maybe do some interviews with some bands, man. I think that'll be
cool.
Yeah.
Would love to.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, man. Appreciate your time.